Welcome back to the show and to another episode of Inside the New Manager Playbook. And this is just a little mini series I'm doing leading up to the launch of the New Manager Playbook on January 27th, 2025. And if it's past January 27th, then pick up your copy on Amazon. Welcome to the Managing Made Simple podcast, where you get a masterclass in managing your team with ease in 15 minutes or less. I'm Lia Garvin, your host and team operations consultant. Through this show and my programs with small businesses and corporate teams, I condense a decade of experience driving team operations in some of the most influential companies in tech into strategies to save you time, money, and most of all, stress. Doesn't matter if you're a business owner who realized that running a team isn't as easy as you thought it would be, are a new manager learning the ropes, or are a seasoned manager ready to up their game. Everyone is welcome to hang out with Managing Made Simple. From conflicts to feedback to delegating and more, we leave no stone unturned when it comes to what makes us love managing, kind of hate it, and everything in between. Let's go. So what does trust have to do with managing? Everything, okay? And this is one of the chapters in the book because trust and a lack of trust often causes most of the problems that we have. Like, just plain and simple, I'm just going to call it. Now, when we think about trust or an absence of it, you might think, well, I like my team members. I trust them. Like, this isn't a problem. But what we don't always think about or realize, I should say, is what not fully trusting shows up as. Okay. And a lot of it shows up as two things. First, it shows up as kind of a resistance to let go. Okay. So when we're not good at delegating, when we're finding ourselves micromanaging, that is about trust. We think it's that, oh, we just want to make sure everything's okay. Or, hey, my manager's on my back. I just got to make sure I can tell them, all the updates and stuff like that. But the reality is that we would, if we trusted our team members completely, we would just know when we ask them something, it's going to get done. We would say, oh, okay, I know that Joe over here's got this, or Sarah's going to be okay. Like, she'll give me that update because she's consistent and predictable with that thing. So trust allows us to delegate. It prevents us from micromanaging. And this is what I would say from the you as the manager standpoint. But the thing about trust is it is a two-way street. So we're not really going to trust our teams if they don't trust us. And I think probably they've got to trust us first, because then they're going to show up more consistently, and then we can trust them. I would say, if I had to think about it, that's probably the order it happens. A little bit chicken and the egg, but now, does establishing trust take years? No. Does it take 5 minutes? No, right? So it takes spending the time to get to know your team members, to understand their work styles, to communicate consistently as a manager, to show up the way that you say you're going to. This sort of predictability is going to fuel a stronger sense of trust faster. When you say everything's okay one day and then it's not the next day, like, why would I trust you? I don't know who I'm getting. It's a Jekyll and Hyde situation, or the Hulk situation, if you prefer that analogy. So we have to show up the way we say we're going to. But I think you helping build that one side of your trust with your team members for your team members, this is only one piece of the puzzle. And I talk about both these sides in the book because it's really important. Your team members demonstrate trust, or build trust with you, I should say, through their consistency in their work, right? Them following deadlines, them showing personal accountability, them problem solving on their own, them having that consistency. Now, I want to differentiate one thing is while we have to build trust as a new manager, we're managing a new team, or with our team if we're managing them now and we need to improve our trust. It's not that your team members have to prove themselves to you. And where I think we can get stuck sometimes is we come in onto a new team, we're approaching the role new, and we're kind of like acting like everybody, I'll believe it when I see it. Everybody's got to prove it to me. Now, if the people are on your team or they're in your company, they got hired there for a reason. You've got to assume competence. And I want you to assume that they're here to do a great job. Because when you assume that and you give them a little bit of an implicit trust, now they have something to meet. They have a target to hit. It's not like, we'll see if you're going to show up tomorrow. You don't want to start from scratch. You don't have to, because your hiring process has already brought them through the door, and there's a trust in that. So when we're talking about trust, it's not about proving ourselves. It's actually about relationship building and consistency. So your team members are going to be building their trust through them, doing what they say they're going to do and being consistent with results and delivery and job performance. And then through that, you start to give them more responsibilities and you start to let go and you start to offer them, stretch opportunities. And that's how you build this mutual trust. When you say, hey, I'm out there looking for opportunities for you to take on this thing, you show up in the future soon after with, hey, I found one of those things, right? You don't just let that go for 2 years. The person's like, this person's just BSing me. They want me to feel like you're out there trying to help me, but I know you're not. So there's a follow through and a consistency and a predictability, and also doing it in a pretty, reasonable time frame. That's also going to make it faster to build trust with your team. So again, I just wanted to tease this little, this concept of trust. It's something I think we talk about in abstraction a lot when it comes to managing. Like, of course, we need to trust each other. Like, why wouldn't we? Goes without saying. But how do we do it? And that is why I talk about it in the New Manager Playbook. I share specific strategies for building trust, things to talk about, how to show this consistency so that it's not abstract. So that if you feel like your teams don't have trust, you can actually reset and you can have that conversation. So don't worry, I got you covered. New Manager Playbook coming out January 27th. And again, if it's already past that day, check it out on Amazon. Wait to hear what you think. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Managing Made Simple podcast, where my goal is to demystify the job of people management so that together we can make the workplace somewhere everyone can thrive. With that said, let's spread the word. If you love this episode, please pass it along to someone who might benefit from it. See you next time.